Hey, what is going on, guys and gals? Welcome to another RC Conspiracies. Tonight we're going to be talking about something kind of different. Changed my mind on what we're going to talk about today. And so I decided to go with Spektrum. And does Spektrum have some kind of an evil plan to take over the world of RC electronics? They're definitely getting smarter out there, we'll say that, right? They're smart technology. And so there's just been so many releases, and I've been looking at it and thinking, well, what is Horizon Hobby gonna do with this? Like, you know, Horizon's now got batteries, they've got chargers, they've got, you know, transmitters, ESCs, receivers. They've pretty much taken over all of the different aspects of electronics that you would see in all of their other cars. But Horizon Hobby also has Arma. They have the Dynamite brand, and so I want to talk about that a little bit because I don't ever go into my my hobby town and just see Dynamite products sitting on the shelf for me to buy. However, Spektrum is a name that I know from my controllers, and so that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's jump over to the live chat, guys. That's not the live chat. This is the live chat. There it is. We've got several people already in here. Three props is in there. My buddy Harry, how's it going, man? Brian Samuel. It's really funny. Like literally 10 seconds before I was going to switch over to the microphone and go live, I was moving my little box over from this side and smacked the whole microphone, knocked it all out of sorts, and was trying to get it back and going again. So now there's differing opinions on Spektrum because some people don't like their transmitters, and so is that going to bleed over into how they feel about their electronics? That's a whole nother thing that we'll talk about tonight, guys, in the chat. I'm going to need your help. Midget Man RC is here. Tuga RC. Chevy Man is here. He says, boo, yeah. I don't know if he's saying boo to the topic or if he's saying booyah. Like, this is good. JD Passel says, Spektrum is getting smarter. And that's, you know, as things get smarter, technology gets smarter, I fear that they're going to take over everything. So anyway, I was just, you know, joking around thinking, man, I've been so busy this week. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I've had zero prep time. Normally I spend hours prepping for these so far. And so I may have to change the format, not be weekly, but maybe go more special interest and have like time to send an alert out ahead of time for you guys to know that there will be one coming up, or maybe just flip it so that maybe there's always a live Monday night, but it may just be kind of shooting the breeze kind of a Monday night versus always doing RC Conspiracies because of the work that goes into this. But yeah, 3 props says, great buddy, the foil hat is in place. All right, that's 3 props FPV. Dave Pig says, Horizon wants to be the Walmart of RC. I don't think that they do. I think that where they're going with this is they have a good brand of stuff and people don't know the brand. And so they're going for name recognition. But these are really just hobby wing. And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to look at their products and kind of talk about how this looks like so many of the others, because this is really just another hobby wing ESC, at least for most of them. So like the 150 amp, 160 amp. I don't know as they go smaller if they still stay with that. I'm pretty sure that they do. That I've really recognized outside of it comes in RTRs. If it ever went dead, I never went, hey, let me go get another Dynamite motor in ESC or Taser or whatever. So I think that they're trying to let it be known that it's their product by making it Spektrum. So we've got some more people jumping in here. I'm going to jump over to my web browser and we'll take a look at a few things. So this is what we got announced this past week, which I think is pretty cool. It's a smart ESC in that it's going to give us some of the information about our vehicles as we're driving them. So I'm blanking on the word right now, guys. Telemetry. That's the word I'm looking for. Now, I think that part of it is a keep-up game. You know, like we'll talk about that a little bit as well, because Traxxas has something like this already going if you buy their Bluetooth adapter for their controller. And so that's something that they've got and have had for a while. It's been a little bit harder to get it on any Horizon vehicle, telemetry, and get it in a way that was so easy and pleasing like the Traxxas kind of is. So I think that's part of it, but I think they've gone even maybe a little bit easier in that so much of it is going to be built into these ESCs, and I think it's fascinating, and I'm definitely going to be getting some to try. That is for sure. I'm going to need to upgrade my controller. We'll show and talk about some of the Spektrum transmitters in a second as well, because there's differing opinions on that. Because we're saying they're going smart here, but other people are saying, hey, you've taken a step backwards with the... Sorry, guys, I'm grabbing this, the STX2. Now, mine has a grip on it that I get from CCxRC that makes it that much better feeling in my hand, but that's not the gripes with it. And we'll talk a little bit about this controller here in a minute. Mainly people that have ARMA and other things that used to come with the Tactic are the ones that are kind of complaining about it a little bit. And so we can talk about that. I don't have any Tactic controllers up here, but I have about the same amount of these controllers now as I do of the Tactic, so we'll talk about that too. RC Basement is in the house. So some people are talking about the orange. I've been wanting to get a new Spektrum controller. I'm gonna just be honest. Now the orange on these Spektrum up here looks awesome. You see it in their ESCs and in their logos and all that. And I saw Greg Sopa's orange Spektrum DX5R, his rugged, and I've just been waiting for that to actually come to market. I don't know if it was. I know it was a test to see how what they thought of it. And he let me take a picture of it and post it when I was at the Monster Jam World Finals, the No Limit one at Digger's Dungeon. And so that's on my Instagram, and it looks so awesome that that's what I want. So I haven't bought a new one, but I do have my favorite controller right here in this box. And so we'll take a look at that. The one thing, though, is I'm going to have to upgrade. I'm going to keep this because I absolutely love this controller. And I actually like the feel of it and the look of it better than the DX5 Pro. So this is the DX4R Pro. There's been no reason for me up to this point to upgrade it. It also has a grip, a Reptile grip, PPR slots radio grip, Reptile. And this has been an amazing controller. I got it pretty much right when I got my SCX10. I wanted something that would allow me to have more channels. And Joshua Williams always liked to upsell me. And so he was at Debbie's RC World, and they didn't have the non-pro version, and so he gave me all the reasons why I should just go ahead and make the jump to the pro. And so I did. And that was 4 years ago, probably 5 years ago, something like that. But I love the feel of this. I love the drop-down grip on it. I can't one-handed drive it. That's kind of the bummer of it. But yeah, it's... I was upsold this, and I've not regretted it one bit. I'll be honest. I love this controller. But if I'm going to do this smart technology, I need to get one of the 5 controllers, or maybe just jump up to the 6. I don't know. I've been eyeballing the 6. They had those sales going on, right? And so you got a pretty good deal off, and I didn't do it for some reason. Concept RC is in the house now. RC Overload. How's it going, man? So what do you guys think of all this new Spektrum stuff? Do you think that they have some kind of an evil plan to take over the RC electronics world? Are they smarter than all the other guys out there? So I just wanted to look. So this is the Firma ESC, and there's varying different sizes of this. I don't really care about the flight ones, guys. So the air ones are not my forte. I do have a few planes, and I like flying them, and I think they're awesome. but I don't upgrade anything in them like I do with my surface vehicles. So this is the one I'm eyeballing. It's the 3S to 8S 160 amp. There's the 150 amp 3S to 6S in the middle. And on the far right, we have the little dinky, not dinky at all, 130 amp ESC 2S to 4S. All of them that they're offering are kind of large, and I like it. Nothing like 60 amps or anything in that range. They just went up. They know what we want. We want powerful ESCs. And so they have varying different controls and things in there as far as what their BEC can handle and BEC and all that. But this one is interesting me on the left, the 160 amp. But as you look at it, you kind of see what it looks like, and it looks a lot like, to me, when I saw it, it looked like the dynamite that is in my low-C DBXLE, which handles up to 8S. And so the real question is, and Josh Rhodes nailed it, are they smarter than a fifth grader? I love it, man. RC Overload is asking, have they come out yet with a variety of different sizes? All of these are still yet to come to market. Late September. That's why I've kind of been eyeballing this one, is the 160 amp. However, if I sell my DBXLE, because if you guys look, I just got a 5th scale beast of a sprint car that I'm super excited about and should be racing this weekend, weather permitting. So this is basically, it looks like a couple of other things, and so I wanted to just kind of look at what it reminds me of are some of these dynamite here, like this Fuse 160 amp. Looks pretty similar from here to here. However, this one is definitely sexier. I love how they made their logos stick up out of the heatsink. That looks awesome. But, you know, it would be neat if, and I think it's smart if Horizon does it. I mean, I'm not one to tell them what to do, but if Spektrum ran electronics in all their vehicles, I think that they would get a lot of name recognition that way across the board for all of the Spektrum line of products, which is also something that is sold in hobby stores. Unlike, you know, our hobby store carries, as far as ESCs and electronics, for the most part, is Hobby Wing and Castle Creations. I mean, so that's what it is. But you throw a name like Spektrum in there that people will purchase, and I think you've got, you know, another name in the game. I don't know if there's any non-compete things that they have with Hobby Wing, though, either. So that's another question. So I know that, you know, these are based off of, say, these Hobby Wing right here. So, you know, again, very similar look. Let me jump back to the comments because I want to see what you guys are saying. And as some of the people in there, somebody in there is saying, I should give you credit because you're saying to give me credit. But, yeah, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you guys are in here. Want to see more of these. It's Sean's RC Adventures. He's the one in there. Thanks, buddy, for looking out for me. So let's jump back to the live chat. I'm going to scroll back past some of this, and then we'll get to here, because there was quite a bit more conversation going on. There's a Greg in here that says, haha, I wonder if that's SOPA, and he's laughing at us for not waiting for the orange Spektrum. I don't know. It is a really awesome controller. But I like the rugged. Some people don't like the little dial pad or the thumb pad thing of it. I didn't find it to be that annoying. I mean, my wheel one jumps anywhere it wants to anyway, so anything like that, if it's not touchscreen, you're going to have a little bit because of just the fine adjustment of it. And the Futaba people are going to be like, well, we don't have that problem. I'm waiting for it. Come on, let me have it. Somebody put it in the comments for me. Beanfield Alice Turtle is in here. Swampers RC, other than stability assistance, I really don't see much of a need for telemetry, especially with crawlers. Okay. I don't know that most of these you would put the crawler, these aren't crawler motors. or really ESCs, it doesn't look much like. However, yeah, I don't know that you need the telemetry, but if you get it extra, that's fine. What would be nice, though, is if these were Bluetooth, like the Hobbywing ones are, because that, and not all of them are, but the Axe ones I know for sure are, and that's awesome. So that's something that would be like, hopefully in the future, an advancement that they'll look at. But what do you guys think about it? Is it a name recognition thing? Why is Spektrum coming out with all this stuff when Dynamite used to have it, or be the main, batteries that were Horizon and things like that? Do you guys think that the Dynamite reaction are going away, or do you think that Spektrum is just going to compete in the same market? Chris Giangelo, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, man, is in the house. Steve O.D., somebody said something about flight controllers, flight receivers. Sean's RC are the best receivers to use. He uses them as crawlers. Okay, that's cool, man. I do need a new ESC for my X-Max, and so I might look at that. I keep overheating mine. So I have those really huge Venom batteries, the like 10,500 milliamp hour ones, but it doesn't give me any increased runtime because I overheat anyway. So I'm really interested in what is going on. Like, why is Spektrum coming out with so much stuff that is not what, or have they always had it and I didn't know about it? I don't remember batteries until the smart batteries came out and the smart chargers. And a lot of that came out with the new IC5 and IC3 connectors. So everything's going to this smart system, which I think is cool. It's good. It's good for users. Here you can see they're looking at the temps of their batteries and everything. Looks like motor or their amp draw, volts left, that kind of stuff. That doesn't look like volts left. I don't know what I'm talking about. 23.1 volts. The RPMs, so these are motor. And then the temp, 25C. Celsius? Come on now. Ain't nobody knows how hot that is. I lie. All of our Canadian friends and everyone else in the world knows how hot that is. Just not us Americans with our imperial system of... Hey, look at somebody wants to know if I have questions. Should we do the chat? Would that be fun? You guys can't see this because I don't have the web browser up. I've been looking at the comments. Oh, it disappeared. Never mind. There was a chat person. He must have got scared. He ran away. They're not offering me help with the chat anymore. RC Overload says, yeah, he wants the DBXLE. He needs funds to do so first. Yeah, I mean, I have 1,200 in. I was looking to get about half of it back. I'm not trying to go crazy and ask for a lot with it. I thought 600, 650 would be reasonable with 2 batteries, 8S batteries. Chris37 says, we have one of those Dynamite ESCs in our Sen Colossus, I believe. It runs pretty good. Yeah, I mean, my Dynamite stuff has run good. It's just that whenever I go to buy new stuff, like for my monster trucks, it's not an option that I see most places. So I tend to shop in-store. I like to go to my hobby shop and purchase from them. And so Dynamite's not sitting on the shelf, so it's not something I even think about. And I just wonder if that's going to change when Spektrum starts taking over. I see their batteries. I see their chargers. So I would believe that we're going to start seeing these ESCs. The next question is, will they have motors that are going to go and work with all of this smart stuff? And so that, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? I need help. I didn't have time to prepare. My whole weekend I spent working on stuff, and all day I worked. I literally worked until 8:30, and then made the graphic for this. Quickly tried to open up some web pages, and just go for it. I almost canceled, but I said no. Let's just do it. So, jumping over to some of the comments here again with you guys. Got to remember to make the switch. I need to get one of those cool little button things that you press that you set on your desk. The DX7 is awesome, is what Sean's RC Adventure says. What's the DX7? Is that... Oh, that's a flight controller? I have the DX6 for my flight one that I have. I don't fly much, but it's probably going to go over... Well, it's definitely going over to my Tamiya Grand Hauler if I ever finish that thing. Never ending. I actually... If I don't get the 600 for the DBXLE, I don't really want to sell it, so I'm not going to sell it. Like, people were saying 350, 400, 450, and that's just too low. I like it too much. I like it better than the X-Max now. I think it's probably one of my favorites. I have so many other things that I'm running these days. I just don't get out and run it as much as I'd like to. And I just thought it would sell better than my old X-Max is what it came down to, because I haven't been running that a whole lot either. However, both had little broken parts I needed to fix. I broke them both on the same day off of my big jump. Chevy Man says, I think Dynamite is slowly going the way of the Buffalo, or slowly going down. Had to throw in the MXPX reference in there for anybody who's into late 90s, early 2000s punk rock music. Slowly going the way of the Buffalo is a pretty rad album. Steve O'D's at 150, he says, for it. Nah. The other thing that I wonder is, now that everybody's going smart, are they going to open up that smart technology to other people and other companies to work with their programs? Or are they going to force you to buy their batteries in order to get all the technology out of it that it offers? Because I run Venom batteries, am I going to lose a whole lot of functionality that makes the Spektrum not even worth buying that ESC and just buy the Hobby Wing? And so that's something that they're going to have to weigh as well, right? So is it worth selling? You know, people pay to be able to run their patented products, or their, you know, to use their IC5 connector. And so will they open that up to battery companies to run it in the hopes of selling more smart components, maybe more chargers or more ESCs or things, because people know that they'll be able to use it with their batteries? So that's another question. Traxxas isn't willing to do that. All right, so here we go. There's some more comments in here, and they're beyond you guys, or maybe they're still coming. True Boys RC says he's upgrading. 3 Props FPV says Spektrum needs to dig its heels back into the market, which I think they're doing. And we're going to talk about their transmitters, because that's another thing that, you know, you've got to worry about, name recognition and name and what people think about it. So going to what's on the screen right now, 3 Props FPV says proprietary stuff sucks. I hope that's not the case. Would be cool to see them make things compatible. RC Overload says that's a very good point. What's the point of the smart system when everybody else is mostly running non-smart batteries? And so if most of your telemetry is going to be battery telemetry, I don't see it selling a whole lot of ESCs if they don't open that up to other companies to run their system. Because Traxxas is already shutting them out, they'd probably be willing to, hey, we'll jump to your IC5s and your smart connectors in order to work with your system. So that's the question. The next conspiracy is Breaking Silence says, when will Tony finish his Grand Hauler? Put a date in your bet. Oh, look at that, 12/24/2020 RC Overload. Nice. It's almost finished. I actually have it powered up and a battery in it. But the steering, the servo saver popped. It just broke. It wasn't running it or anything. It just was broken. And so now I got to find that adapter or that piece, or I don't know. I don't know if it's finicky or not, or just throw in any servo saver or servo horn and just say screw it. I'm not going to crash into things with this thing. I don't need a saver. So earlier, RC Overload said reputation, bigger name brand to try to compete with is what he's saying Spektrum's doing. JD Passel said, what if Spektrum has a plan to make an RC car? I don't see that happening personally, but that's just me. I wouldn't say I would not be interested in it, but I don't see it happening. RC Overload said 600 is a steal for the DBXLE. And actually, guys, I haven't even run it that much. You know, most of the videos you've seen, I've maybe run it 2 times that isn't on video. And so, I mean, I've jumped it a lot every time I run it. But literally, those are the times I've run it. And, yeah, it's doing pretty awesome. It's still tons of power. JD Passel says he likes Venom better. It looks like I'm getting down to the bottom. Steve O.D. says that new rig you got, Tony, is so awesome. Yeah, man, that new gasser is really cool. If you guys haven't seen it after this, you should go and check out the new 5th scale sprint car RC that I got. Really cool. JD Passel says I'd rather to running dumb batteries. Green Frog RC is asking if I put thread locker on the servo saver per chance. I did not. I don't think I did. I don't usually put thread lock on my servos, which was a problem with the Kyosho because it actually backed out because of the way that the servo saver has a big spring on it. So Green or 11 Charlie RC is in the house. So let's jump back, or let's actually talk about the controllers for a little bit. So they've got some cool smart stuff coming out, but if you went to the ARMA forums, there's a lot of people really dogging this controller. They're on the RC Basher Boy Bash the STX2 controller bandwagon. I have 5 of these now, and all of them work great for me. So I have them with my ECX. I have them with my Sentin 3S's. I have it with the Axial Race. And what I actually like about it, let me pull this back here so I can get it in here, is that it has throttle rate and it has throttle limit on here, which they did not have on the Tactic. The Tactic had very little functionality as far as what you could do with it other than the trims and I think steering rate. It did not have throttle rates and it did not have limiters to limit it before you gave it to your kids. So I love this as a dad and somebody that gives my RCs over to complete strangers to run. I think these are awesome controllers. Now, are they plastic feeling? Yeah, they are. They definitely lose points for me on the mainly only on the grip. It actually it feels good to turn it, especially when you get a grip like this on it. It just feels way better. And again, these are PPR reptile grips on here, and I love these things. And it makes it a wider grip, so it makes your precision, I think, just a little bit better because you have to turn more because it's a bigger circle. You have to turn. It's a math thing. So I don't have any problems with it. I think it feels good. The only thing that feels cheap to me is the wheel. If they could either offer new wheels that you could buy to put on here, that might be the easiest thing they could do. If these came off easy, just sell us a replacement wheel, and I'll keep running these. I have no issue running these at all. And it's the only gripe that I have with the 2XE, which I have a couple of these. One of these came with the DBXLE, and the only thing that I didn't like about this was that this actually, other than AVC, has less features than the other one. Now, these also run, so this is a DSMR, the 2XE, and that's one of the things people wish that their receivers could just bind to their better controllers, and I get that. But my Tactic won't bind to my other controllers either, and honestly, I don't want to pay more for that if I'm buying into a system. Like, if they were Tactic and it was an upgraded price, but I don't run that as my higher-end radio, I wouldn't want to pay more to have that put in when I'm just going to have to buy my Spektrum receiver to put in to run with my truck anyway. And so that would be the thought process of maybe the Futaba guys. Like, I don't want to pay extra for a receiver that you can use to make yours pair with your better controller, that Spektrum, when I'm just going to pitch it, And so they're we put them in a bind. We're going to gripe about it. They're just trying to keep costs low but make it ready to run. And this has the limiting features, and it has the throttle rates, steering rates right there, and this does not. This has steering trim and throttle trim and AVC switches, and then a couple of other switches. So, but yeah, I mean, range on a high-speed car like the Infraction, I did have a little bit of issue with, but I put new batteries in and it did way better. So I may not have been getting good reception because I had low battery power going out. Meatbag says, can't believe the DMXR came with the DBXLE. That one came with a DSMR, and so I was able to just switch it over to my 4R Pro. That was no big deal. Has AVC, everything, just like the Infraction can be done. I don't do it right away because my goal is to show you guys exactly what they're going to run like if you buy one. And so I ran the stock controller for a long time, so you'd see in the videos what it would do. Same thing with the Infraction. I ran it with the stock controller, but we'll be switching to my DX4 Pro or 5 Pro or 5C or whatever I end up getting. Or 6. JD Passel says Arma Sentinel 6S still come with Tactic. Interesting. So that did not maybe get the upgrade or the rebrand to the Horizon, and that's when it happened. Because even the original, like Granite, my Granite came with a Tactic radio. And so did the old Arma. So did Axial stuff. Started coming with Tactic. And so when it switched over to Horizon. But I'm not complaining about this controller other than the grip. I think the grip feels cheap. And that seems like it wouldn't increase that much cost to just change that out and make it a foamy. But that's it. So comments here, they're flying. Chris37 says he likes the throttle limiter as well. FogRC, maybe, oh yeah. When they sell out of the 6S, they might. I'm curious what's going to happen with the Sentinel 6S, if that's going to stick around or if that's just going to be replaced by the Mojave, because the 3S are so awesome and they're the same size as the 6S. And honestly, 6S in that size of a vehicle seems crazy to me. So conspiracy theory here is that it might disappear. But I don't have any knowledge of that. So keep buying them because they're awesome. So J. Passel says Arma betrayed Tactic. My Outcast version 2 Tactic. All the V3 older comes with Tactic. So that's what everyone's saying is the older stuff. Yes. They didn't betray it. They just, Horizon did not scoop up Tactic in that whole merger that happened. So, of course, they're going to go with their products. So, I mean, it makes complete sense to me from a business standpoint. So, yeah. And anyone, if I'm saying anything wrong, definitely correct me. Because, I'm just kind of going for it. Not a whole lot of prep. But I do think the controllers are great. I don't know anything about their batteries. I've never run their batteries. I like the new IC5 connector from the standpoint that it's way easier to solder than the EC5s or the EC3. Well, the EC3 wasn't too bad, but the EC5 was murder. I always bought mine from eBay. See that? That's nice. It's already been pushed in, and you just solder your wire into it and put some shrink wrap over it, and you're good to go. None of that trying to push these things in. I mean, I spent an hour switching out one of these on my broke off of the inside, the way that they spread. It's a nightmare. The RFC Basement says my headphones just told me to tell everyone you need to buy a Sentinel 6S. On sale now with a Tactic radio. They're your favorite. You want one. Roadside RC XC90 the world. All right. I'm okay with XC90s. I don't mind the EC5, IC5 other than the soldering. And they've corrected that problem with the new IC5. But I've run Spektrum since I got into it. I guess because that's what came with, where you start, I think does have an impact on you. And I think that's kind of what's interesting with what Losi's doing, and what I was going to talk about today is that they've got the Tenacity line and then they've got the 10 line. And so some people have been saying that the Losi's been losing quality because they're coming out with plastic cars. Well, I think that what they're doing is they're getting starter cars for people that they can get at an affordable price that are awesome. And then when they want to upgrade, they already have the Losi brand in their mind, and they'll get the next level up. They'll jump up to the 10. And so having that beginner car in my mind is a really great idea. As same as Arma with their $300 line of stuff, the 3S BLX series, which are awesome, plastic. Even the V4s are plastic. And, everybody knows if they want to go to the next level, what they're going to get. Probably another Arma. So somebody's saying, interesting, Greg. I missed something in here. I miss a lot. Greg says, make sure the antenna is up as far as possible on the RC. That will drastically help your range. Antennas are so 1999, Greg. Come on, man. I bury that thing inside of the case. That little electronics ESC receiver case. I open that up. I ball up that little cable, that antenna, and I stick it down in there, and I say goodbye. I don't want to see you again. Stop poking your head out because I just rip you off. And so that actually, going back to Spektrum, is what I like about these new smart ESCs. I've wanted telemetry in my race cars or race monster trucks, all these other things, but I refuse to strap wires through because I always rip them off, and I did, saying all this about that antenna wire, because I literally do. I just shove it down in there because I never need to go long distance. Like I'm up in the top and we're doing oval racing. I just did it with that sprint car. I just rolled that thing up and stuck it down and put the clip on, said goodbye, I'll never see you again, and I send it out on its way. Now that is sketchy on a gas powered car because you lose reception and you don't have a kill switch. You'll be crying. But no, I mean I'm just going in circles, from up top where it's fine. So I'm going to jump back down here. Steve O.D. says he does the same. Fracture says same. That's funny. Greg says voltage telemetry through Smart ESC will read regardless of battery brand. So that's awesome. That's good to know. I haven't watched all the videos. I started watching the live video that they did about this, the new stuff on the Facebook channel, but I got busy with work. What is it with work? Getting in the way of having fun doing RCs and coming up with conspiracies. All right, so I think I've gone back through most of these. The tactic, I might have missed some, guys. If I missed something that you really wanted answered or talked about, be sure to put it in the comments again because that happens. So I don't know anything about the chargers either, guys. Honestly, I'm most excited about the ESC. I'm one of those guys. I understand why people want smart chargers. I also understand I like having control of things and doing the readouts as well. I just read it on my Venom Pro Quad charger, and I can see what it's doing. I can't get all of the stats on it like a Pro charger will give, but I can at least check the voltage and that and make sure it's set right. So I like to type in the numbers and do it my way. So Green Frog says that the Smart ESCs do read different battery brands, just to make sure that that is completely clear here. So that is good news. Fracture says the Spektrum smart charger, basically you plug in the battery and it does everything for you. That's great. I still like to override and say this is what I want. All right, so I showed you the different controllers. I have, like I said, I have a bunch of them. I have the 6 and the DX2E, the STX2. I have 5 of these STX2s, and they're all still in operation. I haven't actually taken them off of any of the cars I'm running them on because I haven't had any gripes with them. Like I know people in the beginning were mad because they couldn't convert it to their one controller because they want one controller to rule them all, and so I'm not that way because then I can't let my friends come and play. So I guess if you don't have friends and you have a pro controller, it would make sense that you would want it to control everything. I lied, I don't have friends. I have kids. It's my kids that I have to allow to run the cars with me. Yeah, someone said self-driving RC cars. If Spektrum came out with an RC car, it'd be so smart it would drive itself. They would. Oh, that's funny. Come out with a Tesla. It would be awesome to put like a little fake sleeping driver in it too, molded sleeping drivers. Greg's saying, you have to remember that radio noise is worst at surface level. Yeah, so if you're standing on the ground, if you're up and above, it improves it. It gives a little bit more ability to see. Chris37 says, friends are for people with cheap controllers. We digress. Greg is completely right. I did on my Kyosho. It came with the little tube to put my antenna out of. And when I just went in, and I haven't done a video on it yet. I did post it to pictures or video, Instagram video maybe. I don't think I made a YouTube video, but I took the Kyosho out and I put in AVC, and oh my goodness, is that a game changer. The Spektrum AVC is my friend, especially with two-wheel drive. So the Tank RC has joined, says he loves the title. I really do. I think that what Spektrum is doing is awesome. I don't know all of the reasoning why, but my guess would be that they're going to be kind of the Horizon Hobby, you know, the main electronics that you're going to see. Because again, I didn't know who Dynamite was. I'm getting little dings from somewhere. I should maybe see if the aliens have reached out and telling me something I should say. Let me just take a little look here. Oh no, that was work. They're gonna look at my video. Okay, cool. So there is ability to do a bunch of cool stuff with Spektrum. That was just a work thing. Now I got distracted. My brain just went somewhere else. It went back to Hawaii. Like, my hat. This is my favorite hat I got in Hawaii from Surfer's Coffee. Wahiwa. On your way to the North Shore, you should stop. See how it's got like a camo back? I haven't been ordering CCxRC hats yet because I'm still trying to find this mesh camo back with the black front. So if you ever see it with an embroidery shop, let me know. and then we'll make some available for sale. But they've got these really great looking battery checkers and servo driver. So if you want to be able to center up your servos and all that before you stick them in your car, because it becomes very annoying once you get it in the car to do it. It's pretty awesome to be able to have that control. I have a really cheapo one that I hook up and do that through. This one looks pretty legit. And then they've got the ESC programmer here for programming their ESCs. And it looks like you can also plug into the PC for USB from it. So a lot like what Castle does, but this looks way better. This, I guess, Hobbywing has something kind of like this until they went. The only Hobbywing that I know that I've ever done it to, I've got a bunch of the Hobbywing ones in like the JLB and the VCar Bison, and some of those came with the Hobbywing 100 amp ESCs. And I never got a program card for them. I just did the button, the blinking lights, which is murder to do. But I've been murdered many times by RC cars. ESC programming. But yeah, it's a standard Hobbywing program card. 3Props FPV says those chargers look a lot like some of the ITC chargers. Yeah, so if you guys like the drone guys especially, or over like Banggood, they have something like it. I can't tell because I can't see the screen on here exactly, but I've seen some chargers that do look like these. But they look slick. They're clean. I mean, design-wise, they're killing it. I love their logos. I love their colors. Color screens. I mean, that's pretty cool. So this is going old school. This is how my high-tech was. And I know that there was high-techs, I think, that worked like this. There was a high-tech version charger, I think, that is now a Spektrum charger as well. So, but you get the Spektrum name. You get the, of course, the Horizon Hobby customer service, which is really great. Along with these two, so there's something to be said for that, and I'm guessing pricing is like right on point with them. So, same level. I'm going with the company where I know I'm going to have great customer service. So that's it, guys. I mean, I just want to kind of really more speculate on what you think Spektrum is doing with the smart technology that they're bringing out. Do you think that all of the Horizon brand vehicles are going to start coming with it? Now, based on the size of these ESCs, it'll only be bigger cars, right? So, like low-C Arma stuff, like the higher-end Arma maybe would get something like this. Would they switch it because the Arma branded ones are kind of cool? Does Arma need to be in the electronics game, or do they just want to be in the car game? All of those are questions that I have, and those are things that always kick around in my brain. I don't know why my brain thinks like that, because it doesn't matter to me. It's the same, basically, I guess, product, like a rebranded Hobbywing. But does it make sense to them to rebrand everything Spektrum to keep that name out there and going? The Tank RC has lots of aliens and robot heads. Fracture says, I don't think it will come stock out of the box. Swampers RC says, 1 unit, multiple brands. I mean, I guess the question mark would be, if Spektrum doesn't plan to put these into all the hobby shops where you get them, where else would they sell them? So like the Dynamite don't show up in my hobby shop, really. Debbie's used to carry a few. But like, where's the market for it? And so that makes me start thinking it's got to start coming in some vehicles. But which ones, right? Maybe I'm completely crazy. I don't know. I saw this announcement and I started thinking immediately, like, where are these going to go? And that question is to you guys. Do you think LoC will pick them up? You're not going to see these like in a ECX. Not going to see it there. There's nothing small enough in there that would be axial at this point. But will they come out with some crawler stuff? I mean, Axial's doing their own ESC still. But they've got to get them to market somewhere. And if they've never been proven in a truck yet that you've seen running, other than that they are a hobby wing rebrand, what would make you choose to get one and keep choosing that as the option? Right? Does that make sense? Sean's RC Adventure says Spektrum has a huge market in Europe. They got a huge market with me, man. I buy a ton of Spektrum stuff. I have tons of receivers, controllers, and a lot of them do come in the RTRs, but they have the stuff that you can get off the shelf, and especially with the batteries now too, and the chargers. I think we're going to start seeing more stuff going to shelf, and I think the smart technology is, it's great branding as well, because they can say, well, if you've got our batteries and all this other stuff, you should get this ESC because it's going to work really well together, make it easy for you to charge. So yeah. Axial wouldn't put a brushless ESC in a brushed truck. That is correct, Fracture. I'm just wondering, would they come out with some that are not? How far is Spektrum going to go with it, I guess is the question mark. And will they come out with a brushless? Will they take the Axe brand and go smart with it? The crawler brand of the crawler brand of you know what I'm talking about, Hobby Wing. Let's go back to the chat. Tank RC racing to monitor battery life. All the RC construction stuff in Europe is mostly Spektrum, says Sean's RC Adventures. Okay. RC Basement. What is the threshold for higher end? Well, what is the threshold for needing 130 amp ESC? Brushless. So it's not going to go in the mega trucks, right? Because they don't have brushless. 130 amp ESC is not needed in the 3S BLX series. What are those, 60 amps? Or are they 100 amp? I think they're 100. I could be wrong. The BLX 103S. Is it 100 amp? It is 100 amp. The BLX 100 in the 3S, the brushless, is 100 amp. If that's still what comes in it. Right on, right on. Steve-O's saying I'm right. Okay. Fracture said, like someone at Horizon told me it's just a start. Sounds like censored is coming. These are censored, actually. If you look, at least the big one is. Just looking at the pictures of it. I think it had a censored option. That's the 30 amp. Or 130. What's Steve-O right about? The 100 amp? I'd already said that. I was right first. I wasn't completely certain, though. I didn't have it in front of me. But I'm pretty sure it was 100. And then he said I was right. I don't actually see any sensor ports, actually. Unless it's a smart sensor port. it's done through the airwaves. I thought Tara R.C. Martin said that it was censored. I don't see it. I don't see it, though. I don't see any sensor wires or ports for it to go in. But, you know, I didn't know one of my castles was for the longest time either. And then I'm like, oh, you sneaky dog. There it is. Or no, it was Traxxas. Yeah, it looks sensorless. But there were people asking about it, and she said something. I don't remember what she said exactly now. Maybe she said it was sensorless. I think I should be able to just buy the pin, right? And then it just uses a hex tool or a hex grub screw to pop it out. Oh, Fracture said he was the one that asked and she was wrong. Okay. Okay. Felix Matt said he's going to try and send me one. That's cool, man. Well, guys, I think we've been going for about an hour. I don't have a whole lot to say on this topic other than to get us thinking about what is next. Where are they going with this? And what does this mean for us going forward? I think it means cool things. I would buy one of these like straight away for my X-Max. In fact, I still might. I might get this one. Even though I can't do 8S, I'll probably get this one because I can move it elsewhere. BLX Matt RC cannot add the link. Give me 1 second. And now you should be able to give that a go. We'll see you, Tank. Anyway, guys, if you have any other last questions, be sure to hit them up here. We're going to get ready to head on out. Tank says the Blue Wrench guy are so smart. SMRT. I am so smart. I am so smart. SMRT. I just showed my kids the Simpsons, Homer Simpson, the movie where he's doing the pig, spider pig on the ceiling. All right, so there, he's got a link for us here. I'm going to go ahead and open this in a new tab for myself so that I can watch it later after this video is done. We'll see you, Steve OD, and everybody else. I would love to see what RC Basement is saying. Add some motors too, complete the package. And, I mean, the coloring's so cool. That is the one thing that I do like about the Arma motors that I would be sad if Spektrum took over. At least at this point is, Arma's designs are always so rad. Like, I love the look of all their components. The graphics that they do, the honeycombing in the plastics of the chassis, the artwork on the bodies, the artwork on the motors, ESC, it's all top-notch. And so, I wouldn't mind these smart ones, but if they do a new motor, I hope that they do something cool with it. So, anyway, guys, we'll see you later. Thanks again for tuning in to another RC Conspiracies. I'm thinking about maybe turning these into a podcast, too. If you guys do that, let me know. I could make this into a podcast available for people that want to watch or listen later. And, yeah, we're just trying to keep thinking of new ideas for the channel and for CCxRC, what we can do for you guys. So if you like the video, be sure to give us a thumbs up. If you're watching this later and you've somehow made it this far, which I highly doubt because it's a long thing to listen to, but be sure to subscribe if you haven't. Leave us a comment below. Let us know what you want to talk about in upcoming RC Conspiracies. Perfect spot for that in the chat below. You guys in the live viewer chat, wait till it's over, then put it in the comments below. Definitely looking for some ideas from you guys, what you'd like to see, what conspiracies are out there. There's definitely some stuff I think coming up that we're going to be talking about. There's rumors and stuff that I'm hearing, not ready to talk about yet. Don't have enough information, but there are some, and the aliens that are speaking into my headphones, and sending me messages on Facebook have me interested in some things. So, yeah, on the way out, hit the thumbs up, guys. We'll catch you next time. Have fun RCing. That's the wrong screen. Gosh, I'm such an